Hey, Poor Temecula listeners. We wanted to give you a sneak preview of our new podcast, The Short Pour, before anyone else in the world gets a listen. Our first episode dives into the history, the culture, the cuisine, and of course, the wine of Tuscany, focusing on the iconic Chianti Classico. While we hope you enjoy it, please feel free to reach out to either Shannon or myself with your comments or suggestions. Cheers. This is The Short Pour, your quick hit podcast for wine, beer, spirits, and the stories that bring them to life. We're your hosts, Rick DeLucio and Shannon Cole, wine educators, sommeliers, and drink lovers living in sunny Southern California.
Today we're headed to the sun-drenched hills of Tuscany. Winding roads, rows of cypress trees, the smell of hearty rustic dishes, and wild herbs in the air. And at the heart of it all, Chianti Classico.
But don't expect a dusty old straw-covered bottle. We're tasting a Gran Selezione level wine with real pedigree, and it just so happens to be from Costco. That's right, the 2020 Kirkland Chianti Classico Gran Selezione. So let's take a quick sip into Chianti Classico. Let's talk about that bottle, the one you turn into a candle holder in college, spotted in an old Italian restaurant, or featured in Disney's Lady and the Tramp. That bottle's called a fiasco.
The fiasco is the traditional straw-covered bottle, long associated with Chianti. Its rounded base and woven casing weren't just decorative. The straw protected the thin glass during transport and let the bottle stand upright before flat-bottom bottles became standard. While fiasco may mean disaster in English, in Italian, it simply means flask.
There's some irony here. By the mid-20th century, the fiasco had become a symbol of Italian wine and restaurant charm. But by the 1970s and 80s, it was tied to cheap, mass-produced Chianti. And that did serious damage to the region's reputation. One of my earliest wine experiences was a harsh, tart, low-quality Chianti in a straw bottle that left a bad taste in my mouth. Today, Chianti Classico has made a strong quality comeback. While most producers now bottle in Bordeaux glass, the fiasco is still lingering out there on store shelves.
Tuscany is the beating heart of central Italy, rolling hills carpeted in vineyards and olive groves, medieval hill towns rising from the mist, and golden sunlight filtering through rows of cypress trees. It's a landscape that seems tailor-made for wine, art, and a slower pace of life. Take it from my experience, just watch out for the drivers. Tuscany might move at the speed of a long lunch, but on the road, it's more like a Formula One race. Honking is less a warning and more of a form of punctuation. Within this iconic region lies Chianti, the historic wine zone between Florence and Siena. It's a patchwork of charming villages, stone farmhouses, and winding roads that might get you lost in the best way. At its core, Chianti Classico, the original and most prestigious subzone, with vineyards at 200 to 500 meters, rocky soils of marl, limestone, and sand, and a climate of warm days and cool nights. The area produces wines with structure and finesse. Winemaking traditions run deep here, passed down through generations.
Chianti Classico's soul is Sangiovese, a high-acid, medium-bodied red grape known for flavors of sour cherry, plum, tomato leaf, violets, dried herbs, and earthy spice. Winemakers may use oak for toasty notes, or none at all to highlight the grape's savory side. Sangiovese must make up at least 80% of Chianti Classico, though many producers use 100% to showcase the terroir. Indigenous grapes are often blended in for authenticity, while international varieties like Cabernet and Merlot are now less common.
Chianti Classico wines come in 3 tiers: base, aged at 12 months, Riserva, aged at least 24 months, and Gran Selezione, aged for at least 30 months and estate grown, which is a top-tier category introduced in 2014 to elevate the region's standing and pave the way for a cru system. Each level brings more complexity, structure, and aging potential, with prices typically ranging from $15 to $30 for a base, $25 to $50 for Riserva, and $40 to $80 for Gran Selezione.
And then there's the Black Rooster, Gallo Nero, emblazoned on every bottle of Chianti Classico. It's the symbol of the Chianti Classico Consortium, founded in 1924 to protect the region's wines. But according to legend, Florence and Siena once settled a territorial dispute by sending knights at dawn to ride toward each other. Where they met would set the new border. Siena chose a well-fed white rooster. Florence, on the other hand, chose a caged, hungry black rooster. It crowed early, giving Florence the head start, and most of Chianti in return. Today, that clever rooster is more than a mascot. It's a legend, an icon, the Lord of Chianti Classico, a symbol of history, authenticity, and pride. For those unfamiliar, Costco sells a surprising amount of wine, and much of it under its own Kirkland private label. These wines are typically classically styled, made by reputable producers, and offered at impressively accessible prices. The 2020 Kirkland Chianti Classico Gran Selezione is a perfect example. Estate grown, produced, and bottled by Basilica Cafaggio, an organically farmed estate with roots going back to 1408. Cafaggio's Gran Selezione has earned praise from critics and often retails for up to $50 under its own label. How Costco gets these for $18 is anyone's guess, but it's serious value for the quality in the glass. So let's check it out. In the glass, this is medium ruby garnet in color with pale orange at the rim. That's usually a good visual clue that it's spent about 30 months aging in Slavonian oak. On the nose, it's a dead ringer for Chianti Classico. Bright red cherry, red plum, juicy red plum, and those signature dried Italian herbs. But layered underneath, I'm getting like a tomato note, anise, peppercorn, lavender, eucalyptus, sweet marjoram, smoked meat, and just a little bit of spice from the oak. It's restrained, but it's there. All right, let's taste this. Oh, okay. On the palate, that tart red cherry fruit really leads the charge. Like, I'm really salivating. It's it's vibrant and unmistakable. The tannins are grainy and leathery. Oh yeah, they're gripping and drying out my mouth in a way that really heightens the wine's already high acidity. Okay. There's more spice and a whisper of vanilla here too compared to the nose. But with a little bit of time in the glass, the herbal notes really hiding under all of that structure begin to flourish. The finish, it's like rusty and gravelly. What I would think an old Tuscan road would be like. And it's really begging for a hearty meal to pull it all into balance. Okay, so final analysis. Is this the most elegant, concentrated, and nuanced Gran Selezione I've ever had? No. But at $18 from Costco, it's a pretty good deal. For those keeping score, I would give this a solid 90, 91 points. It's of very good quality and an easy A on the value scale. If it's on the shelf, you won't find a better price to quality ratio for a Gran Selezione anywhere. And certainly this is a better option than that old fiasco.
Tuscany isn't just a postcard-perfect backdrop. It's a way of life where the rhythm is set by the seasons and shaped by long lunches, warm gatherings, and deep respect for this tradition. Here, wine isn't saved for special occasions, it is dinner. Chianti Classico fits right in, unpretentious, honest, and made for the table, not the trophy case. It doesn't require a masterclass to enjoy, just something delicious to eat. And in Tuscany, that means simple yet flavorful dishes built around local staples like extra virgin olive oil, unsalted bread, and aged pecorino. Grilled meats seasoned with rosemary, sage, or garlic are regional standouts, all a part of the rustic elegance that makes Tuscan cuisine both approachable and globally admired.
Chianti Classico is the natural partner to this style of cooking. Its bright acidity and firm tannins cut through rich dishes with ease. Think bistecca alla Florentina, a massive flame-seared T-bone that's smoky and salty, and it really just well matches with Chianti's red cherry and dried herbal notes. Or my personal favorite, take a deeper dive with wild boar ragu over tagliatelle. The gamey depth of the meat melts into the wine's earthy character.
For something a little unexpected, take my recommendation and try it with miso mushroom pasta. The umami-rich miso and earthy mushrooms play beautifully with the wine's savory notes, while the bright acidity of Chianti Classico cuts through the richness of the dish, creating a balanced, mouth-watering pairing that bridges tradition and creativity. What makes Chianti Classico so special is its range. It's equally at home on a rustic farmhouse table or in a fine dine setting. It speaks of place, of Tuscany's hills and kitchens, and it reminds us that great wine doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs a good meal, time to savor, and a few talkative friends.
So what did we learn from our quick trip through Tuscany and this bottle? First, forget the dusty fiasco and the bargain bin reputation. Today's Chianti Classico is a serious wine with structure, style, and deep roots.
It's shaped by its place. You can taste the sunlight, stony soils, and forested hillsides. Paired with local foods, grilled meats, wild games, aged cheese, it becomes even more expressive. This isn't wine to admire from a distance or age for decades. It's made to be poured, shared, and savored.
And the Kirkland Gran Selezione? It's a great example of value meeting tradition. Made by a respected organic estate, it delivers classy character and quality, all straight from your local Costco. Proof that great wine can be both accessible and authentic.
That's the beauty of Chianti Classico and wine itself. It brings people together, sparks stories, and if we're lucky, makes Tuesday dinner feel like a Tuscan celebration. Thanks for joining us on The Short Pour. Drink what you love, eat what makes you happy, and don't fear a little fiasco. Until next time, cheers!